Good morning, students. We'll continue with the topic photosynthesis in higher plants. So, in the previous classes, we have dealt the introduction part of photosynthesis, definition, what are the importance of photosynthesis, the raw materials, and the structure of the chloroplast, and how the chlorophyll pigments, what is the rate of photosynthesis and the levels of wavelength that is being used, or the form of wavelength that is being used in the process of photosynthesis. The next part is we will deal with some of the early experiment conducted by the scientist in order to, in the course of or in the study of the process of photosynthesis. So many scientists who worked on the process on plants usually conducted some experiments. Those experiments have helped to understand that the process of photosynthesis is a complex process, though simple components are being utilized. So we will go with some of the experiments conducted by the scientists. Around the 17th and 18th centuries, scientists were working on the process of photosynthesis. In that, one of the scientists was Joseph Priestley. He conducted many experiments on photosynthesis. In that, the very simple experiment that is being identified around the year 1770 is Bell-Jar experiment. You can just look into the figure in the page number 207 in 13.1 figure, that in this experiment a very simple components or a very simple apparatus was being used. He used a bell jar and a mint plant rat and a candle. Simple apparatus was a bell jar, a mint plant, a living mouse or a rat, and a candle. In the first setup of bell jar, he lighted a candle and placed the rat. In the first setup, he placed a burning candle and a rat. In the second setup, he placed rat, a burning candle, and the mint plant. In the mint plant. So, as he observed with his observation, in the first setup A, he observed that after few minutes of time, the candle got offed. It was offed and even the rat died. So there was a death of the rat and the candle was also offed. Yes. So in the first setup, he observed the rat died and even the candle got offed. While in the second setup, he observed that the rat was also living, the candle also was burning continuously. So with this simple experiment, yes, so in this first setup, as he used the three simple components, breathe. It got suffocated. There was suffocation. There was no air for the rat to breathe. That breathing or the scarcity of the air led to the death of the rat, and even for combustion process oxygen is required. The oxygen that was earlier present was utilized by the rat and the candle. Now in the bell jar there was no traces of oxygen. All the oxygen was being used up by the rat and the candle. Then he observed that both the candle was off and even there was death of the rat. But in the second setup, he observed that rat also was living, was surviving, even the candle was burning. Wick was burning or it was lighted. This was because he placed a plant. Then he came to the conclusion that there is a release of air. The air is being released by the mint plants. This air that is being released by the mint plant is used for the combustion of the candle and also by the rat. That air was nothing but the oxygen. Later on, this was the air that was being released, which was responsible for the survival of the rat and burning condition. Continuous burning of the candle was being identified as oxygen, or we can say that the air that is being produced, released by the plants, made the animals to survive and also led to the combustion of the substances or lighted the lamp, the candle to be burning continuously. So he concluded that the plants release the air. They release the air. So the statement or he concluded that air is released by the plants which purify and also help in survival of animals, and that air is nothing but oxygen. It is nothing but the oxygen. There we can say that there was discovery of oxygen proposed by Joseph Priestley. I will repeat the experiment once again. He made a simple setup to understand the importance of photosynthesis or the importance of the plants. In the first setup, only two components, that is the rat and the candle, were being placed. After few minutes of observation, he observed that rat died and even the candle was being off. Yes, the reason was being identified as the air that was present was being utilized by the rat and the candle. There was no extra amount of air in the bell jar. Due to suffocation, the rat died and the candle also was offed. While in the second setup, when he placed the mint plant in it, he observed that the rat was also surviving and the candle continued to burn. So he implemented that, or he gave an concept that plants are responsible for the survival of the animals and for the combustion. So that air that was being released by the plants is nothing but the oxygen. This oxygen is used by the animals for the process of breathing, and that release of oxygen is because process of photosynthesis. Here the light, there was source of light. There is light source. Chlorophyll is present in the leaves. These arat through respiration release the carbon dioxide. The carbon dioxide was being absorbed by the plants and release the air. That air that is being released is oxygen, which was responsible, which made the rat to survive, and even the candle was burning. So this concept shows that, or it indicates or gives an information that during the process of photosynthesis, the air that is being released by the plants help in the survival of the animals, and that air is nothing but the oxygen. So this simple experiment is known as the bell jar experiment. Then another experiment that was being that the oxygen was, this air was later known as, the air that was being released was being known as oxygen. Around the year 1774 there was discovery of oxygen. Then in the next experiment, as done by Jan The next experiment was done by Jan Egenhausen. Around the year 1730, during the period of 1730 to 1799. Yes, where he also done a simple experiment on the process of photosynthesis, where he used the aquatic plants, that is the hydrilla. So in this experiment he used a funnel, a water beaker or a trough, large beaker, and the plant, the aquatic plant called as hydrilla. So in this he placed the apparatus in two sections, that is in the dark room and in the source of light. So he, inside the inverted funnel, he placed the hydrilla plant. Inside the stem of the funnel, the hydrilla plant was being placed, which in turn was placed in a large trough, in a beaker or a trough with water, and this is the plant with the funnel, and covered the stem of the funnel with the test tube. It was covered with the test tube. He placed these two apparatus, one in the dark and in the another setup with the same apparatus, funnel, plants in a trough containing water, and that was covered by a test tube in the presence of light. I repeat the setup. He used simple apparatus like funnel, the water trough or a large beaker, the plant hydrilla, and the test tube. Inverted funnel was being placed inside the trough of containing water, and a plant was being, aquatic plant was being inserted inside the funnel, and the stem of the funnel, the test tube or the funnel was being covered. The stem of the funnel was covered by a test tube, and he placed one of the setup in the dark room, while the other setup was being placed in the light or in the presence of light. Then he observed that there was collection of water bubbles. There was collection of water bubbles on the inner surface of the test tube. There were small water bubbles stored or collected in the apparatus that was being placed in the light areas where it was exposed, where the plant was being exposed to the light. So this experiment shows that these water bubbles, when being identified, these bubbles were nothing but the small bubbles released was nothing but the oxygen. It was oxygen. So with this experiment, he said that the plants during the process of photosynthesis, there was water. As a source of water was the trough containing water. There was light. The plant had the chlorophyll pigments with carbon dioxide, water. It was able to synthesize the food, which also released the air, that is the oxygen. The oxygen that were collected inside the test tube, and this bubbles that was being released by the plants are nothing but the oxygen. While in the dark setup, very few bubbles were being identified. Yes, as all were there. There was carbon dioxide, there was water, but there was no source of light. Due to the absence of the light, there was no release of oxygen. So he concluded that the plants release oxygen during the process of photosynthesis. So this experiment, he stated that plants produces oxygen during the process of photosynthesis. I will repeat the experiment once again. He made two setups to understand the difference in the rate of photosynthesis in the dark and the light. In the dark room, there were absence of light. The plant was being inserted into the inverted funnel, and the stem was being covered by the test tube, and the whole plant was being placed in a beaker or a trough containing the water. There was carbon dioxide, there was water, the plant had chlorophyll, but there was no source of light. There was no source of light. Due to absence of the light, it did not form the bubbles. Very few bubbles were being formed on the inner surface or the internal to the test tube. While if the apparatus placed in the light, in the presence of light, he observed that the test tube on the inner side had produced very minute bubbles, and these bubbles are nothing but oxygen. So this experiment implies or indicates that during the process of photosynthesis, the air is being released by the plants, and that air is nothing but the oxygen. Then we'll go with the another scientist, after Jan Ejderhousie, one more scientist, Julius von Sachs. Julius von Sachs. He conducted an experiment and showed that plants produces glucose, and that glucose is converted into starch. So Julius von Sachs, he conducted one of the experiment. With that experiment, he stated that the plants synthesizes the food in the form of glucose, and that glucose is converted into the starch. So this experiment was being observed by Julius von Sachs. In this experiment, first we will try to know that how to detect the presence of starch. A simple experiment to identify whether the starch is present in plants. So there is a simple procedure to identify the presence of starch, where in a beaker there is a water, in a test tube, a beaker, a test tube with a spirit or alcohol, and a leaf is being placed inside the test tube. And with the help of spirit lamp, in this he used the apparatus, beaker with the water, a stand, a tripod stand to hold the beaker with the wire gauge, and the spirit lamp. Yes, so a leaf was being plucked, it was being placed in a test tube containing the alcohol, and the water will be boiled. The concept of using alcohol, water, boiling in water is that alcohol catches fire. So in order to avoid direct contact with the fire and burn the leaf, so the leaf was placed in a spirit or an alcohol and was being boiled, or it was being boiled in the alcohol and placed in a test tube. So this experiment, it was boiled for few minutes, not directly but inside the test tube with the alcohol. Then the leaf was being removed. As it is boiled in alcohol, it decolorizes, it loses its color, it becomes pale yellow or completely white in color. Then iodine solution, after removing the leaf is being removed. When this leaf is being treated with iodine solution, if it is treated with iodine solution, the color of the leaf changes into blue, black in color, which indicates there is presence of starch. Iodine is a starch indicator. On boiling in alcohol, the starch can be identified. This shows that the food that is being prepared by the plants in the leaves is glucose, and that glucose is converted into the starch. I will repeat the experiment. In this simple experiment, in this setup, it was he used the beaker, a tripod stand, a spirit lamp, a spirit or an alcohol, a test tube and a leaf. The leaf was placed in the test tube containing the alcohol. It contained the alcohol and the test tube was being boiled. Immersed in a beaker with the help of a spirit lamp. Then the leaf was being removed, and when this leaf was being treated with iodine solution, it changed into blue-black in color, which indicates that the glucose produced by the plants during the process of photosynthesis is converted into starch. Then another experiment with this identification. This is the procedure for identification of starch. Then the other setup, the main setup that was being used by Julius von Zach. It also implies that light is necessary for the process of photosynthesis. In this, the plant which was exposed to light was being used. A leaf was being plucked. This leaf, one of the leaf was being plucked. The plant was being used. In this, the plant that was being used, the half of the leaf, the half part of the leaf was being covered with the black paper. The half of the leaf was covered with the black paper. First, the plant was being placed in the dark room so that whatever the component that is being produced is being utilized by the plants. Then the leaf, one of the leaf was being covered with the black paper. It was completely, half of the leaf was being covered in the black paper and kept in the source of light. It was exposed to the source of light for few days. Then this leaf was being tested for presence of starch or iodine. When it was being tested for the presence of starch, this part or the upper part of the leaf changed into blue black in color, while the covered portion did not show. There was no change in color. So when the plant was kept in a dark room, it utilized the food that was present in it. Then in that, one of the leaf was being covered with the black paper. Then the plant was being exposed in the light. When after few days, when this leaf was being tested or it was being done to show the presence of the process of photosynthesis, so the presence of the starch, iodine test was being conducted. When it was conducted, the half of the leaf which was covered with black paper, there was no change in the color, while the other half, the upper half, changed into blue-black in color. This shows that the light fall on it, where there was presence of light, the light is necessary, is required for the process of photosynthesis. This also experiment shows that light is necessary for the process of photosynthesis, but this leaf, as it was covered, there was no source of light. This part did not produce the starch. There was no which indicates that light is required for the process of photosynthesis. Or we can use the variegated leaves. These are the leaves with different patches. There are green patches and sometimes the brown patches or the yellow patches on the leaves. So there are patches on the leaves. Such type of leaves are called as variegated leaves. When this leaf also, when it was subjected or if the procedure was being followed, the leaf was being boiled in an alcohol for the identification of starch. Then only this part of the leaf where it contained the green part, this changed into blue, black in color. This also indicates that chlorophyll is necessary for the process of photosynthesis. This shows light is necessary for photosynthesis. By using variegated leaf, we can say that chlorophyll is necessary for the process of photosynthesis. So this was the experiment done by Julius von Sachs, where there was identification of the starch for the production of starch during the process of photosynthesis. Then in another experiment of photosynthesis, it was T.W. Egerman in another experiment. Egerman, he also conducted some experiments on photosynthesis around the period of 1843, during this period of 1843 to 1909, where he experimented on the spectrum of light or the visible spectrum of light by using the simple prism. So he measured different colors, the effect of different colors on the process of photosynthesis. How is the effect of the rainbow colors on the process of photosynthesis? For this, he used the algae Cladophora. The Cladophora were being placed in a trough containing water. He used the algae Cladophora for his experiment, where the algae were being placed in the trough containing the water, and a beam of light was being passed through the prism, which scattered the light as violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange and red. Yes, the light was being dispersed. When a light was being passed through the prism, the light dispersed through the prism, emitting the 7 colors. And he observed that there was growth of at 3 sources of light, that is in the violet region, blue region and the red region. There was more number of bacteria, some of the bacteria accumulated in the region, in the red region. So here the green algae and the bacteria were being used. So the algae was being placed along with the bacteria in the trough, and we observe that in the violet and the blue region and the red region there was accumulation of the bacteria. Why? Then he tried to understand that why in these areas only, or in this wavelength of light, or in this particular regions of light, why there was accumulation of that bacteria. The bacteria responded with the release of the oxygen, which indicates that more the amount of oxygen, the more amount of bacteria. Then he observed that when it is compared with violet and blue, the bacteria accumulated more in the red region, which indicates that red light is widely used for the process of photosynthesis. So in the red region there was accumulation of water, there was response of the bacteria. The bacteria in this responded to oxygen that was released by the cladophora in the red region. So he said that in the spectrum of light, in that the light that was widely used for the process of photosynthesis is the red. As there was more accumulation, the bacteria were being illuminated by the red light, and they responded to the oxygen that was released by the plant cladophora. So here with his experiment he proved that even the algae also, or the bacteria that were grown in the trough region or in the source of light, the cladophora emitted the oxygen and the bacteria responded to the oxygen. So this experiment implies that the red light is maximally used for the process of photosynthesis. Then one more experiment was done by Van Niel. Another scientist, Van Niel, conducted an experiment which changed the concept of the photosynthesis. Look to the equation of the photosynthesis, where you can see when you study this equation, the equation of photosynthesis: carbon dioxide plus water in the presence of light and chlorophyll produced glucose with the release of water and oxygen. But Van Niel used the purple sulfur bacteria in his experiment. In that experiment, hydrogen sulfide, they were grown there where there was absence of water. The blue purple bacteria, the organisms were being grown or was being experimented using hydrogen sulfide, water in the presence of light, and they have their own chlorophyll pigment which produced, so that there was production of a carbohydrate. He observed that there was production of a carbohydrate with the release of water and sulfur. the old equation that was being widely studied by the scientist, but when he experimented or when he conducted this experiment using the purple sulfur bacteria, and these were being grown in the absence of water. There was absence of water. In the absence of water, where he used hydrogen sulfide, carbon dioxide, the light and the chlorophyll, he could find there was production of carbohydrate with the water but no oxygen. There was no trace of oxygen. So, according to the old equation, it was considered that the water that was being released comes from carbon dioxide. It was being known that the release of oxygen is because of water. It is because of carbon dioxide and not by water. So, he with this experiment said that the oxygen that is being released is not by carbon dioxide but it was due to water. The carbohydrate, the carbon dioxide was reduced to form a glucose. It was reduced, it was being fixed and was being fixed to form a glucose, but water is, in this experiment there is carbon dioxide. If you compare this equation, there is presence of carbon dioxide. If the carbon dioxide released oxygen, then this experimental setup, it has to release oxygen, but it did not release oxygen but released the sulfur components. So this old equation, if you see the old equation which says that oxygen is released from carbon dioxide and not from water, then he indicated that the oxygen that is being released during the process of photosynthesis is not from carbon dioxide but it is from the water. Where the water molecule splits, it is the photolysis of water takes, when the light falls on the water, it splits to form the oxygen. Then this equation was being changed into the modern equation, and that modern equation is when carbon dioxide reacts with water, there is release of carbohydrates, water and oxygen. So it was being changed. In case if carbon dioxide, if we consider that carbon dioxide is responsible for the formation of oxygen, then this experiment setup of Van Meel indicates that there was presence of carbon dioxide. If this presence of carbon dioxide, but this carbon dioxide did not evolve oxygen. In simple way, we can say that no water, no release of oxygen. Presence of water, release of oxygen. So he finally concluded that the water that is responsible for the release of the oxygen. The oxygen produced during the process of photosynthesis is evolved by splitting of water, not from carbon dioxide. So earlier this was the equation that was being followed, and this equation after the experimental process was changed into a modern equation. So this is the correct equation of photosynthesis, where carbon dioxide is reduced to form a carbohydrate. Yes, and the water is split. There is photolysis of water and this water is splitted, or the water is responsible for the release of oxygen. So if here water was present, here there is absence of water, here there is presence of water, here absence of water made to release, there was no release of oxygen. So in simple terms, no water, no release of oxygen. So the present equation that is being followed is this one, where 6 molecules of carbon dioxide and 12 molecules of water produces a carbohydrate with a release of water and oxygen, and this oxygen that is being released is because of water. It is because of the water molecules and not from carbon dioxide. So these are the 5 experiments done by the scientists to study the photosynthesis. So in the first experiment is the bell jar experiment done by Joseph Priestley. The second experiment is to show that the plants produces the air, that using aquatic plants, and that air is nothing but the oxygen. So oxygen is released by the plants during the process of photosynthesis. And Julius von Sachs, who showed or demonstrated the presence of the starch. The food that is being prepared by the plants is the starch that is being stored in the leaves. The glucose is converted into the starch, while Eagleman showed that in the spectrum of light, in the beam of light, the red light responded, or the bacteria responded to more amount of oxygen, and the rate of photosynthesis is higher in the red region when compared to other source of light. As an external experiment, another experiment is being known that carbon dioxide is necessary for the process of photosynthesis. So in the earlier experiment we came to know that water is necessary for photosynthesis, light is necessary for photosynthesis, chlorophyll is necessary for photosynthesis, that water is necessary for photosynthesis, that is, if you place in the water, naturally water is required for the plant. Light with the covering by starch, we can experiment that light is necessary for photosynthesis. By using virginated leaf, we can come to know that chlorophyll is necessary for photosynthesis. That is a simple experiment as an external information that carbon dioxide is necessary for photosynthesis. That was done by the scientist called as Mohl, and the experiment is known as Mohl's half-leaf experiment. And this experiment is known as Mohl's half-leaf experiment, where the potted plant was being used, and this plant, half of the plant was being immersed in a funnel containing KOH solution, half of the leaf was being placed inside the KOH solution, or in a funnel containing KOH solution. So let me draw it a little bit clearly, where the leaf is inserted inside the beaker containing KOH solution. Why it is called as half-leaf experiment? that half of the leaf is inserted into the funnel containing KOH solution. So this setup was being done for few days and it was tested for the presence of starch. Yes, it was being tested of presence of starch. So with this experiment, he wanted to show that carbon dioxide is necessary or it is required for the process of photosynthesis. Yes, here the plants, this upper part of the leaf received the light and also received carbon dioxide, but the plant which was inserted inside the funnel with KOH solution, though it had carbon dioxide, that was being absorbed by KOH solution, and KOH solution turns milky in the presence of carbon dioxide. So the KOH solution on treated with when it comes in contact with carbon dioxide turns into milky. So when this leaf was being tested, the upper part which was exposed to the light and air, that is carbon dioxide, showed the presence of starch. That was being done by iodine test. When it was tested for the presence of starch, this part of the leaf that was being on the outside, that was being on the outer surface of the flask, that when it was tested, it was identified, it changed into blue-black in color, which indicates the presence of starch. So on doing the iodine test, this portion of the leaf, where half of the leaf which received light and carbon dioxide synthesized the food into form of glucose, and that it was changed into starch. So this experiment shows that carbon dioxide is required for the process of photosynthesis. So by this equation, that is carbon dioxide and water, light and chlorophyll are responsible for the production of glucose, water and oxygen. Joseph Priestley, Chan Echenhausen, then Van Niel, Eagleman and Sachs, along with Mohl, they experimented the experiments or demonstrated the experiments on the photosynthesis to show that carbon dioxide is necessary for photosynthesis, light is necessary for photosynthesis and chlorophyll is necessary for photosynthesis, where carbon dioxide is reduced to form glucose and photolysis of water by, as said by Van Niel, that oxygen is released from water and not from carbon dioxide. So these were some of the early experiments done by the scientists. We will proceed in the two reactions. There are two reactions in the process of photosynthesis. One is light reaction and the dark reaction. What is light reaction and dark reaction? In the light reactions, there are three main steps: photoexcitation of water chlorophyll molecules, photolysis of water and the photophosphorilization. So how this reactions, the process of photosynthesis occurs, we will deal in the next class with the light reaction and the dark